This low pressure that's going to develop the next couple of days down along the Gulf Coast is going to cause a lot of folks a lot of headaches, and a lot of meteorologists are going to be trying to figure out which way does this thing go, because it's all about the track and how it impacts our weather here in the southeast, and specifically here in Kentucky. Hey there, friends, I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. It is Saturday, November 29th, 2025. It's about 10 o'clock as I'm recording this. And we've already got winter weather happening in parts of the state. We had freezing rain and snow earlier. Most of us have changed over to plain rain now, although there is still some pockets of freezing rain up in northern Kentucky that are causing some issues. But we're going to focus on the next storm system that's coming. But we've got to talk about this one first, because what this one does is going to play a big factor on what storm number two does. So here's what's going on right now. There is the big picture of the radar loop over the last about 2 hours or so. We have had just prolific amounts of snow across portions of the upper Midwest and up around the Great Lakes region. We've seen some places receive more than a foot of snow. Winter storm warnings continuing all the way from Sioux Falls over to Detroit. This is a big winter weather maker to our north. Here in Kentucky, though, our temperatures have climbed all day. We started off in the teens just after midnight. We're now in the mid 40s here in London, and we continue to watch showers rolling on through. And those rain showers are going to continue into Sunday morning. But what this storm does and how much cold it pulls in and where it puts down snow is going to play some big factors in how much snow we could see, or potentially how much freezing rain we could see. It's a wild storm system. Let's see how it all plays out. Here's the HRRR model overnight. Here in Kentucky, mainly rain from here on in. But the big question is going to be, where does that snow line cut off? The farther south we have heavier accumulating snows, the more cold is going to punch south, and the farther south that low is going to track. So I'm going to switch over real quick to show you how much snow we could see. We'll switch it to snow depth because that's the most accurate measurement of that. And you can see pretty good little accumulation through central Indiana back into Illinois. You're going from like next to nothing up to 6 inches very quickly. So if I had my preference, I'd like to see that a little closer to the Ohio River, because that would push the cold air further south. That would push the storm track a little further south and help us get out of the potential mess. Now, what potential mess are we talking about? Well, let's switch it back over to the traditional future radar and show you. We have got rain, snow, and freezing rain all potentially on the board as this system moves into Kentucky Monday night into Tuesday. And it's all going to depend on where that low goes as to what we see. Here we go. Here's the future radar. This is Monday night, 8 o'clock local time. Rain right along the Kentucky-Tennessee border, freezing rain just north of that, snow in the Ohio River. This is as far out as the HRRR model goes right now. That takes us all the way up until 8 o'clock. We're going to zoom out to the big picture on some of the other models to show you what they're showing. And specifically, we want to look down here in the Gulf Coast to see where is that area of low pressure. So we're going to start with the European model. That is my favorite model in this range. Low pressure down just off the coast of New Orleans. Rain, little break in the action, snow. The Canadian model, something similar. It has the rain coming a little farther north than it has in some of the earlier runs. That's interesting to note. GFS model, the low pressure once again down near New Orleans. Freezing rain, western Kentucky, snow along the Kentucky River, plain Jane rain along the Tennessee border. Icon model, something similar. Some of the other models, there's the NAM. So we're starting to get that generalized picture. You notice a lot of the models showing something similar of rain down along the Kentucky-Tennessee border, some kind of mix between Kentucky-Tennessee line and I-64, north of the I-64, mainly snow. We will have to wait and see how that plays out. I want to break it down on a couple of the models, on a couple of the big pictures to show you the potential tracks, because each track has a different outcome. Here's the European model. Here comes that low pressure. There you start to really see it taking shape. We're at 2 o'clock Tuesday morning. Freezing rain, looks like just north of Highway 80. Plain Jane rain, southeastern Kentucky. Snow up along the Ohio River. And then as that low deepens, we would see a little bit of snow. Not a ton. That one is so far south. Notice how it's taken the low pretty much from the panhandle of Florida up towards Myrtle Beach. That kind of a track would keep us on the lighter side of frozen precipitation after a little rain in southern Kentucky that morning. So not a huge hit from the European model. We'll take a closer look at that in just a second on the state and local level, but I wanted to show you the big picture for these tracks. Now, the GFS, notice how it's a little bit further north. It's taking this low up towards Atlanta. We're staying in rain in southeastern Kentucky, but notice up in central Kentucky, some of those darker blues starting to show up. We may get some deformation bands going. If that happens, look out. That could put down quite a bit of snow in a short amount of time. Couple inches, not out of the realm of possibility if that potential track were to play out. Notice, instead of going over off the coast of the Carolinas, it cuts up right along the southern edge of the Appalachians. Here is the Canadian model. It's spinning the low up kind of in between. So we start out in rain, eastern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky gets all snow out of this. Central Kentucky gets a wintry mess. And then as it pulls off the coast, we'll see the snow dissipate. Finally, one last model, the NAM. It's struggling a little bit. It's got like this huge jump in the low pressure there. Kind of not as strong of a low, and the first low dying off, second low forming off the coastal Carolinas. That's kind of similar to the European. The old running joke was, if the NAM and the Euro are on the same page, that's what you go with. Okay, let's look at the up close view. Here's a Euro. So notice, wintry mess north of Highway 80, rain southern Kentucky, snow everywhere else, ending as light snow. The GFS model. More rain for eastern Kentucky, but that heavier pocket of snow showing up in central Kentucky on the back side of the system. Canadian model, we don't get the close-in view, but that's what we don't want to see. We don't want to see a big pocket of freezing rain popping up. That would be a mess. Ending as a little light snow. And finally, the NAM, kind of somewhere between the European and the Canadian output. So what I want to look at now is the probability of different precipitation types. So here is the odds from the European model of at least 1 inch of snow in 24 hours. And we're going to switch this and look at some of the other models. The Canadian ensembles, European ensembles. So notice the Canadians got the best chance of snow in northern Kentucky. The European has a pretty good chance of at least 1 inch. Central Kentucky, at least 60% chance once you start getting into the purples. GFS says, Northern Kentucky, you are the winner, and you have a pretty good shot of seeing 1 inch of snow up along the Ohio River. A couple of the short range ensembles pushing that a little bit further north. Just something to look at. Does anybody have a probability of 4 inches? A little bit showing up on the euro. We can check with the other models. Canadian showing at least a 20% chance of that in northern Kentucky. GFS something similar. The short range models not as much. And then freezing rain potential of at least 1/10 of an inch. And I hope we do not see this. European showing at least a small chance of that. See if I can get the... It's not wanting to show that for some of the other models. So what does it all mean at this point, and how much snow are we going to see? At this point, it's still too soon to tell. If I was to put a first call map together right now, I would probably say northern Kentucky from I-64 up to Covington, 1 to 3 inches with some wintry mix on the southern end of that. I would put a zone of freezing rain from I-64 south to about Highway 80, and from pretty much, say, Columbia east along the Kentucky-Tennessee border, south of Highway 80, I'm putting that mainly rain. So London, we are looking probably at some rain, maybe ending as a little light snow. Same story in Corbin and Williamsburg. Hazard, probably the same thing. Get up towards Richmond, Danville, could be a little more snow. Just depends on how it all plays out. There's still a lot of questions, and we still got a lot to figure out about this system. I'll have an update tomorrow night. We'll have a call map out tomorrow. We'll see how the data's looking. If it's in pretty good agreement, I may put one out tomorrow morning. But it's all about the track. I wish I could do more than that right now. It's frustrating. It's frustrating me as a meteorologist to say I don't know what it's going to do. I don't yet. I see some potential. I see some options. If I was to hang my hat on any one set of models right now, I'd probably lean more towards the European and NAM solution, just because they're so close. And the old school meteorologist in me says when the Euro and the NAM show the same thing, that's what you forecast. We'll have to wait and see, though. All right, friends. Hope you found this helpful. I know this was a little bit more technical than the videos I normally do. Tomorrow we start off with a little bit of light rain. You can see that over that side of the screen. Always still weirds me out that things are flipped over here. But yeah, there's the forecast for tomorrow. Wet start to the day, cool end of the day, but cloudy. Not expecting anything wintry tomorrow. Monday night into Tuesday, though, going to get interesting. Stay tuned. Stay weather aware. Tune in next time. We'll try to keep you updated. Take care, y'all.